Welcome everyone to the DevNation show. So I'm really happy because I could launch the stream without any issues. That hasn't been the case the last weeks, but Edson was there to help me. But today Edson was giving a talk, so he was not able to help me, but I know that Blur was around if something went wrong. So as usual, please let me know in the chat if everything goes right. Hi Aurélie, hi James. Great to see you there. Hi Burr. And well, it's already show number 9 or 8. I think it's number 9. So next week will be show number 10 already. It's crazy. I know it's a special day for the US today, and don't worry, we won't talk about that today. But we are all looking at you. But we are here to have fun, okay? And again, let me remind you that it's important to have fun, to relax. We are living stressful moments, to be honest. Here in France, it's the same. We're in lockdown again, but the kids went back to school yesterday, and yeah, it's not easy. So let's try to relax, have fun. Some people are surprised how much fun I have. Maybe some of you saw last week I did, that is not what I wanted to show you. I want to show you, last week I did a really funny video about, the band New Kids on the Block. So already she's in the chat. We started to have fun together saying, hey, New Kids on the Pod. And then she came with this awesome animation. And I say, hey, I have lyrics for this. Step by step. Ooh, baby, let me put all these parts in the node. And I made a video. And yeah, I'm having fun with this. Okay, so, and I see 2K views. Awesome. Anyway, let me back to go. Today we will have a really great interview with Holly, which will start in a few minutes, in a minute or two. Okay. And, after that, I will be doing some live coding again. You will see, it's fun. It's fun. It's about stuff I learned last week. Again, thanks to Aurélie and Gaël. I learned how to make a kubectl or kube control plugin. Okay, and it's really fun. We will try to make one together. We will have the game. To be honest, it will be the same game as last week with some extra stuff. I couldn't manage to have my new game running for today. I'm really, really busy, but don't worry, it will still be fun. And yeah, who doesn't like Pac-Man? Okay. As I said last week, I showed you all my instruments that I have for the past shows. And today we're starting again with the first instrument I showed you for the intro. And let me take it. There it is. So maybe some of you remember it was the hand pen. Okay. So really nice instrument. And I will do the intro, launch the official jingle, and then we will start with the interview. So are you all ready for the DevNation show? Relax, have some good time here. There we go. Okay, so, and we are back. Holly, are you around? Hello, Holly? Oh, there you are.
Yes, yes. Got that in the end.
So, let me double check everything is good. Yeah, everything is perfect. Let me just put the banner, because I always got to put the banner, and I always make this nice banner. You can't see it, but people will see it. It's just written the interview and with your name, Holly Cummins. So anyway, hey, Holly, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show. And first of all, for people who don't know you, can you introduce yourself? Take the time you want, but present yourself to everyone.
So I'm an IBMer. I've worked sort of all different places in IBM, and so sort of different people know me for different things. At the moment, I'm a consultant, I'm a developer, and I lead the developer community in the IBM Garage. So we're sort of a services organization within IBM. But I've done a lot of work on WebSphere as well, and on WebSphere Lady. So some of what you were talking about fun and some of the ways that you're showing things made me think of some of the things that I've done with WebSphere as well.
Yeah, WebSphere, indeed. Let me see. Can you tell us a bit more about the garage? Because I had the chance to visit one in Nice. I think 1 week before the first lockdown in March. Well, it was in February, and people from there called me to say, "Hey, we saw that you work for Red Hat, and you're not far away. Can you come over?" And I spent the whole morning there, and they showed me the garage there, and it was really, really cool. And but maybe you can explain to people a bit what exactly the IBM Garage is.
Yeah, so we're sort of we're like a startup within IBM. So we were originally called the Blue Mix Garage, and what we really wanted to do was help startups I think it's safe to say that startups are maybe not IBM's traditional customer base, and we really wanted to sort of provide an easy way for them to start using IBM Cloud, take advantage of what was in there. And we thought, in order to do this, we have to operate in a really new way. We can't be sort of big and all turn up in suits, because who's going to want that? I mean, not that we were wearing suits anyway, but so what we said was we're going to take all of the startup methodologies. So we're going to do lean startup, and we're going to really focus on that iterative development and on doing the riskiest thing first. And we're going to do design thinking, because we really want to make sure that we're solving the right problem, because it's no use solving a problem really quickly if you make something that nobody actually wanted. So it's about taking that, working with our, and I think especially when it's technology, like, I love technology, you love technology, and we sort of see these new things and we're like, oh, that's cool, I could make something out of it. But we have to step back and say, yeah, but does it actually solve someone's problem? Because if not, then we're just doing it for our own enjoyment, and it's not actually helping anybody. And I think we'll probably come back to this when we talk about fun, but sometimes what's best for us is best for other people, and that's when it works really well. But we can all get kind of caught up in, this is fun, look, I've, just introduced, a chatbot with blockchain, and it was like, well, might be the right thing to do, but we need to stop and step back. And I think so we do that as techies, and businesses do that as well. I think something about how the funding cycles work means that there sort of tends to be this sort of lurching after new technologies rather than stepping back and doing the foundational things that are maybe harder, but also more important. Anyway, so the second plank of Garage is that design thinking. And then the final piece is how we do development. So we do extreme programming, we do pair programming, we do test-driven development, again, all of the DevOps, cloud-native programming, just really, again, making sure that we're focusing on what matters, which is writing code, writing quality code, and getting it out to users, rather than having this sort of big process of project management and making charts and making documents, which nobody really wants.
No, and which is not fun, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it all ties really nicely together, because a lot of these activities that we hate doing, like fill in, your status so that I can fill in my chart so that it can get propagated up. The reason we hate doing it is because we know it's a waste of time. We know that no action's actually going to be taken with that data. And if there is action taken, it's only going to be like a bad and stupid action, like telling people to work faster without actually removing the barriers. And, so we want to focus on the things that actually deliver value, because that's what makes us feel good at work, is making things better.
Yeah. And last thing about the Garage is replicated all around the world, or I think.
Yeah. So we used to talk about how we had sort of 16 worldwide, and they were in, a lot of sort of exciting cities. So it started in San Francisco, and then we had New York, Melbourne, Tokyo, Singapore. So all of these sort of vibrant cities with vibrant startup communities, we'd have garages in them. Now, of course, things are a little bit different, and I haven't been in the office in like 8 months, which is a shame, because one of the other things that we did was we made a point of having really nice physical spaces. Yeah. And again, it's one of those ones where it made life great for us as the consultants working there, because we had nice offices, but it wasn't the reason it got done. That was just about for us. The reason it got done was because when clients came into those spaces, they relaxed. They started thinking about things in a new way. They felt happy. They wanted to spend time there. They wanted to spend time with us. And so it worked out well for everybody, and it really enabled us to do more creative things.
Yeah. But by the way, how did you handle this situation of being stuck home? I saw on Twitter that you will have, like me, the green screen, all the equipment, and yeah. So did you get used to it now a bit?
Yeah, I think, I think when it was at first, I thought it would be like for 3 weeks. And so I sort of did these minimal coping strategies of like, well, I need a monitor, but I don't need anything else. And then at some point I realized it was going to be a lot longer. And so then I went seriously shopping, like everybody else has done, and I think we're going into this spiral of consumerism now, where we're just getting more and more tech toys in order to cheer us up for the fact that we have to work at home. So now I'm kind of looking at, microphones and green screens and, admiring other people's cameras.
Exactly. And pinging people on Twitter about questions in OBS, because I remember.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love that. I love to help people about that. I got a lot of requests because, all the crazy videos I did. And people, how do you do that? How do you do that? But I love to share that. Maybe one day I should do a show just about the streaming, a stream about the streams, It's been a long time that I wanted to do that. So anyway, let's talk a bit about your talks, when you give talks. So I remember the first time I saw you giving a talk, that was a few years ago at JavaOne. You were giving a keynote, the opening keynote about microservices, I think.
Oh, it was, that one was the hero's journey to cloud, I think.
Yeah, exactly. This one, yeah.
Yeah,
it was great. It was fun. We had a lot of fun I remember the room, the energy. And if I look up your name on YouTube, I can see you give a lot of different talks on different topics, which is amazing, like on quantum computing and stuff like that. But let's start with this talk. It's a keynote as well that you gave a few months ago, and I mentioned that in the show here, was for the CNCF summit. You gave a 15-minute talk about how to not wreck the planet with Kubernetes. And this one was great. Since I watched this keynote, each time now that I can reuse some of the stuff that you said, not on all the levels, but when I show Quarkus and I explain, with Quarkus you use less CPU, less memory. Usually I said, and your company will save money. But now I say, if you make good cloud native application, you will save the planet. Well, not save the planet, but you will help. As a developer, you can really contribute to that. And so you want to talk a bit about this aspect about you?
Yeah, like I feel a bit guilty sort of switching from the subject of fun to the subject of climate change, which is of course not at all fun.
We will come to the fun after that.
But we'll come back. And I think even with climate change, like there's sort of a few different things that we as a society should be doing. Some of them are like really big and really scary, and we need government support for them. So they're things like, changing our cultural definition of what success means, and so that we're not trying to always strive for constant growth. And how do we make sure that the true cost of things is actually reflected in the price we pay, so we don't get these kind of systems where it's someone worked out in the UK, if they wanted to go from Sheffield to London, it was cheaper to fly to Berlin and then fly to London than it was to take the train. And even if they count in all of the cost of the transport to and from the airport. And so something's just gone wrong with the economics there. The true cost of that flight isn't actually being reflected. But the other thing we can do for climate change, I think, is way more easy and way more pleasant. And that's just cut out waste. Because cutting out waste, it's called a no regrets solution. Because some things we do where we're using less, it's kind of hard and we make the sacrifice and we think, I'm a hero. But if we're just cutting out waste, we've saved our company money. If it's something like Quarkus, we're getting this better user experience as well because it's starting up faster and it's reducing our energy usage. It's helping to save climate change. So it's a no-brainer of evolution that we should all be doing that. And there's really no reason not to. And one of the, when we think about the cloud, it's got some parts of it that are really good in terms of climate, and which again I really like because the cloud makes everything so easy and it's so nice. And it also turns out that usually someone else's data center is more efficient than your own data center in terms of how much energy gets used. So sort of, again, it's just put it in the cloud. It's going to be better. But then the problem with the cloud is because, we always had this problem, but I think it's way worse with the cloud. Because it's so easy to provision stuff in the cloud, and because it's so easy to experiment in the cloud, and it's so easy to learn in the cloud, we go, I'm going to learn this, and we forget to turn it off. And then we go, I'm going to learn this, and we forget to turn it off. And then at an institutional level, we do the same thing as well. And then we just end up with all of these zombie servers. And again, they have no reason to exist. The only reason that they exist is because we haven't sorted ourselves out yet to figure out how to turn them off because we can't spot them.
Yeah. I really like this aspect about the zombification of the cloud, and that's true. It's I remember to turn my cluster off, otherwise Burr, my manager, who send the chat, won't be happy when I send the bill. But you're right. Yeah, we can make it easier. For me, it's already easy. It's just one command and it will turn off my cluster. But maybe we should make it easier. Maybe we should gamify I do a lot of games in my shows, like killing pods. Maybe we should do something like in the company, killing clusters. And people will never forget to turn them off because it will be so fun to kill them that they will do it.
That's such a good idea. And one of the problems that we have is if you get that fine-grained billing, then it's easy, right? Because Burr sort of gets the bill and he says, Sebi, that's you. And then he comes and yells at you and you remember to turn it off. But if it's a bigger organization and Burr gets the bill and he says, well, this could be Sebi 1 or Sebi 2 or Sebi 640, then how does he know? And so then you end up with this mass email sort of going, if this is yours, could you turn it off? And it's so ineffective. And traffic monitoring is more effective as a way of sort of figuring out who's not using what. So if it's not traffic coming in, and if it's not got traffic coming out, probably you can shut it off. And you could combine that with the gamification, which is that the more traffic they have coming in and out, the faster they run away. And so you have these sort of little sitting duck servers that, you can just take out. But the ones that are going really fast, you kind of think, okay, someone's using that for something.
Yeah. I have to think about that. I love that idea. Yeah. We add some extra parameters in that. Nice. We'll maybe come back to the cloud after, but since we are talking about gamification, let's switch on the fun part. So this morning I watched a talk you gave last year at Devox. By the way, we should be at Devox this week, I think it was, if I remember well, because anyway, will happen next year maybe. Anyway, but I saw a talk which is called Fun at the Office, how to have fun at the office, and you start this talk with 20 steps to achieve fun. And you really funny, and you warn the people, please, if you make a picture of that, we say there, give the context of it as well. Otherwise, people will think it's serious. But anyway, yeah, you explained some obvious stuff that needs to be heard by people, and how fun is really important for us as developer, as to, yeah, I don't know. Just tell me what you think about fun at work.
Yeah, so I chose the title sort of deliberately to be a bit provocative because I think we all sort of think, oh, fun, that doesn't happen at work. But actually, when you look into it, in general, such a strong correlation between people being happy at work and the performance of the company. And that's sort of, that's a whole bunch of aspects. It's not just like, are people telling jokes to each other all day, but it all sort of ties into this experience of feeling satisfied by what you're doing, having that opportunity to play, to explore, because that leads to the learning, and not being constantly frustrated by what you're doing. Like, I think we all probably have one or two tools that we have to use. And every time we bring up that tool, we're just like, why are they doing this to me? And it just sort of kills morale, and getting rid of those unfun things can make such a difference to people's productivity. And then sort of so that's sort of one side of it, is like getting rid of the unfun. And then another side is the gamification, and I find it fascinating because gamification is so incredibly, incredibly motivating. And people will, like, even when people know it's gamified, they'll still do stuff because it's a game. And so I heard, I think it was at DevOne France, actually, I heard a great talk, and they were talking about how they'd got this sort of massive mountain of technical debt that was showing up in their Sonar Cube scans. And they knew if they tried to do it, it would take them, they couldn't get through it. And so instead they had a contest. And they said to people, form little teams, try and get these warnings down. And if you're the winning prize, you get like a thing. And people spent so much time on clearing up those warnings. And the prize was pizza. Like, we all get paid enough. We can go out, we can buy our own pizza. But somehow just knowing that there was a prize meant that, people really wanted to do it.
Yeah, you're totally right. As soon as there's a little bit of game and maybe a little prize, pizza or a swag or a T-shirt, you see people out there motivated, and we're just like kids. You said that in the talk that Lego recommend that kids should learn by playing until they're 8. Well, I'm still playing and learning. And I try to do that in the show. I each week we play a game, and that game people play with me. But at the same time, I explain stuff around the cloud, and especially in these moments where it's not we're not living the most funny moments in our lives currently, and we are online. We have great talks, great webinars, but we also need a lot of fun, I believe, and so. We are trying to do that in the show. And,
yeah, it's true though. Like, people learn better if there's an emotional connection, and that sort of that fun and that like obvious game aspect makes people remember it, and then that means that they're actually getting more value out of what you're teaching them than they would if you didn't make it fun.
Yeah. Exactly. Are you trying to? Do you have a chance to gamify some of your talks, or are you planning to do it?
Not lately. I used to do a lot of live demos, and every single one had a horrible failure, and it got to be quite traumatic. And so eventually I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just talk, and I won't have a demo. But I did used to do it for exactly that reason. Like, I used to do, when we first, it was sort of, I think it's the same story as Quarkus, but earlier, when we made the shift from classic WebSphere to WebSphere Liberty. It was so small, and it was so light, and it was so nice to use, and we wanted a way of showing that. And so one of my colleagues put it on a Raspberry Pi, and it was cool, because the idea of WebSphere on a Raspberry Pi was just mind-blowing. And so then I said, well, what can I do? And I think that's another sort of important part of it is, like, for all of us in our work, it's that collaboration, isn't it? It's about taking what someone else does and then you build on their idea and then it becomes a better idea. And so I wanted to do wearable computing. A Raspberry Pi, it's pretty big to wear. So what I did was I put it in that hat because, you know, you could kind of fit it in a hat.
Yeah.
And that was good. But then it wasn't gamified because I had the hat, but no one else did. So then the next thing I did was I made this sort of cuddly, throwable application server. And because I wanted something that people could actually interact with. So I could sort of throw it around the room, and every time someone would catch it on the sort of screen at the front, it would show, oh, yep, I can see I've been caught. So there was sort of a connection between people and demo.
I love the demo, the throwable server. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. The only problem is
we cannot do it now.
It turns out, who knew, that sort of electronics and vibration and shocks aren't such a great combination. So I kept getting loose connections, and every time I'd got a loose connection, I sort of made like this pocket so that I could access the computer, but then there was other connections that were sort of inside. And so every time I got a loose connection there, I had to like unsew the whole thing, which was not fun. And that as well, there's a reason that you don't generally run computers in heavily padded environments because heat dissipation was not good. So this thing, it could sort of go for about 10 minutes and it would just stop. And then I could cool it down and it would start working again. But eventually I think it got too much for it and it just, something inside it melted. So that was the end of the throwable application server.
Yeah, but I love these kinds of ideas. And let me just check the chat because I asked people if they have fun at work, but they are not really chatty. Well, yeah, James say, I asked, do you have fun at work? He says, always, especially now that I have the best commute in the world. Yeah. I think that helped to not have any commute anymore. Anyway.
Yeah, commutes are never fun.
Yeah, to be honest, for me, things didn't change that much because I work from homes now for 8 years since I joined Red Hat. But for people commuting, I know what it was. I lived in the Netherlands and commute is crazy there. Everyone think everyone is biking, but no. If you go from city to city, it's a nightmare. And yeah. Anyway, let me check the time. Yeah. Oh, okay. We're almost done. Let me ask you. Let's go just back to technical because I asked that question to everyone who is in the cloud a bit and with Kubernetes. So, what is your favorite Kubernetes feature?
Oh, I mean, I think probably just because we were back sort of on that topic of the climate, it's the auto scaling. Because I love how you can get that elasticity, at least at the container level, just almost for free. So even if you don't turn auto scaling on, you know, you change one character, and then you're good.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And the question that I also always ask is if you could imagine or think of any feature that will be included in the next Kubernetes release, whatever you want, either the feature of your dreams, what would that be?
I mean, I've been thinking about this recently, and Kubernetes is so powerful, but it is really complex, and then I think that can, for people certainly who are new to the platform, that can be an unfun thing. You're sort of looking at all going, I just want to run something on the cloud. And so I think, so OpenShift has done a lot of work there to try and get a better developer user experience, and it's really nice. But I think as an ecosystem, we probably can be doing more. And I think it's not just one feature, and I think that's why it's really hard, right? Because we have to put this kind of find an abstraction that we can wrap around Kubernetes that is not leaky, because if you get a leaky enough abstraction, it just makes things worse. Because anything that you want to do that's not trivial, you have to sort of delve into all this stuff. But if it's sort of too, I don't know what the opposite of leaky is, but if it's too simplistic, And that doesn't work either, because then you're back to not being able to take advantage of the features of Kubernetes, which are exactly why you're using it. So it is, I don't think there's an easy answer there, but I think as an ecosystem.
As an ecosystem, I see your point, yeah. Okay, so we are almost at the end. Anyway, I had a lot of fun talking with you about fun, but also other stuff. Again, thank you so much for accepting to come over here and chat a bit. And I really hope we can cross our roads maybe next year, or at least virtually in the coming months. And anyway, Holly, thank you so much, and see you the next time.
Good to see you. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Okay, so let me remove the banner. There we go. And where is the banner? There it is. Okay, awesome. So let me see. Oh, we are already on time. I think we will stop a bit earlier today, maybe. Let me double check. I got just a message. Okay, it's all good. Maybe it was someone telling me, hey, your stream is not working anymore, but let me check here. The stream, everything is good. Again, I will play the jingle, which is not the right jingle. Well, let me put the game jingle, even if it's not the game now, but we, because it's not news, okay? Let me go and I come back. And there I am again. Hey! So, hey, I promised you some live coding, okay? So today we will do some live coding. And as I told you last week, we had a conference, a French conference, that I organized with some French friends. And we had a lot of different talks. And there was one talk given by Aurélie. You remember Aurélie was there 2 or 3 weeks ago? And she gave a talk with Gaëlle, which is also awesome. I will try to invite her. She's an SRE, so a software relying engineer. And I will invite her on the show. Anyway, they gave a talk about creating kube control plugins, okay? And talk was really nice, really clear, so clear that I said, oh, I can do it as well. And so I will try today to make a really simple plugin live. So let me double check here that everything is correct. Let me move to this screen. Yeah, that is me. Awesome. Let me remove the browser. Let me see. And let me put, yeah, there we go. And Aurélie will recognize the name of the plugin because I hacked it, but we will do a different plugin. So you all know about this kubectl plugins. Okay, let me go to the console. I don't have any plugin installed. It's a bit shameful, but usually do kubectl or kube. I say kubectl. Okay, some people say kubectl. I say kubectl, and then you can have a plugin. The most famous one is NS to switch to another workspace, etc. Okay. In fact, these plugins are pretty simple to make, and what I want to try here is to create a new plugin from scratch, okay? And the first thing you have to do is to create a file. So I do that with Touch. And here you always start it with kubectl dash and then the name of your plugin. And let's make a DevNation plugin, okay? So I created this file. And the next thing that I will do, I will make it executable. And there we go, DevNation. Okay, so now I should be able to run it, DevNation. But nothing happens because, yeah, my file is completely empty. Okay, let me double check that you are seeing what I do. Yeah, it should be good. Okay, let me go back here. So next thing we have to do is to add some stuff inside our file. And for that, I'm going to add some bash script, okay? really basic Bash script, because we could have some complicated stuff like, let me show you this one. Like here, that is the plugin from that Aurélie and Gaël made. I just show you that to copy paste that. That's just a trick from me. Okay, there we go. Let me VI the kubectl DevNation. Okay, and because it's a Bash script, I have to put this. And what we will do here, we'll just say echo hello DevNation. Okay, and that's it. And I can exit VI. I'm still really proud of that. And if I do this DevNation, okay, hello DevNation, nothing really special now, but there's some convention. Since I started my file here with kubectl, if I move this script to my bin, look what can happen. So let me do a cp kubectl DevNation, and let me copy that to user local bin. There we go. Let me clear that. And now I could do kubectl DevNation. And there I have my plugin. You see? Okay. Not really impressive because I do just an echo here. So actually last week, what Aurélie and Gaël did, they did a plugin that lists your pods, and in front of each pod there was an emoticon from Halloween. So a pumpkin, a skeleton, a witch. It was really funny. Maybe Aurélie can put the link of the repo, if she's still there, about that. And so what I play with, I changed it a bit. Let me cut this. I created a kubectl selector, because there's one thing I often do in my demos. I change the selector of a Kubernetes service to show blue-green deployments, you know? And so I changed the selector. Usually I do that or by editing the service itself or by applying a patch, which is not really nice. So what I did basically, and just look here at the last line, here I wrapped just this kubectl patch command and I use my arguments. And as a result, what I can do, let me clear, let me see if I'm connected to a cluster. I should be connected, hopefully. Let me see. Oh, I need to know how to type this kubectl cluster info. I should be on. Oh. To further debug these nodes. Oh, I'm not connected to my. I'm not. So let me go to a terminal that you cannot see. That is a pity. Well. Let me see. Why can I not? One moment. I was not expecting this. Let me see if I'm still on a pod. One moment, please, because I don't want. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I have so many, so many stuff open here. Let me just double check on the chat. Yeah, it's cool to see it live, but let me just one moment, please. I need to log into my server, and let me. I don't want you to see my. So there we go. You can see me instead, and I just have to find back my credentials. Anyway, we need. we need to we need the cluster for the rest of the show. So let me do that. Let me. Oh yeah, I cannot show you this. Need to go to my email. It's funny. Well, great thing is I can show you a lot of stuff. So there, that is my VS Code. So you don't see what I'm doing, and I don't think so. Anyway, I will bring down the cluster right after. There we go. And let me go back here. And I'm almost there. And we are plenty of time. So again, relax, chat, say hello on the chat. I see that Sun is there as well. That's cool. Okay. Oh, looks like I never logged into this. That is weird. Okay, anyway. Oh, yeah, I know. I never logged into. I just logged into the web interface. Okay, I'm back to normal, so let me bring back. Oh, and there you see. There you saw my password. Anyway, you will have to watch a replay, and I will change it right after the talk. There we go. What I wanted to do is kubectl cluster info. There we go. So I'm connected on my Amazon cluster, and I just want to create. Come on, Sebi. Kubectl create namespace fun stuff. I need to give it a name. Fun stuff. There we go. And there I go to my fun stuff. Okay, and clear. I should have here 2 deployments. Yeah, okay. Just to show you how my plugin works. Well, I can just deploy the service. I don't have time to show you everything. Let me apply a service. My boot service. Okay, my boot service, and that will apply my service. And if I cat this service, my boot service, you can see here I have my selector on my boot. Okay, awesome. So it will just select the pods that have the label my boot. And the plugin that I did is called selector, and I can do my boot, and here I can change my boot DevNation, for instance. And if I do that, and I clear, there we go. And if I check my service again, so if I do kubectl describe service my boot service, kubectl get service. One moment. My boot. Oh, just my boot. There we go. Just my boot. We should see here that the selector. And where is the selector when I do? I don't see my selector. Why don't I see my selector? Oh, maybe I don't have a selector when there's. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm blind. Selector app my DevNation. Okay, and again I can change it. Selector live. Okay, and we do that. Clear. And let me describe it again. And so I can change live my deployed selectors. Really useful for me. To be honest, no idea if there's a real value for business, but at least that shows you how you can create your kubectl plugins. Next step. Next step is I showed you Bash, okay? But in fact, any language, any technology that provides a CLI where you can create a CLI can work. And you know, there's one language that I really love, which is Quarkus, one stack, okay? I already did some kind of demos of that. And in fact, let me bring you VS Code and you should see it. Yeah, there we go. With Quarkus, I often show you REST endpoints, web app services, but you can also make CLI tools with Quarkus, okay? And it's quite easy. You just have to add something called Piccoli here. You know, Piccoli is a famous library to create CLIs. And then with all the power of Quarkus, you can create your own command line. So this is from the example from the from the Quarkus documentation. A really CLI tool where that just prints out the name, so we can pass a parameter. Okay, and let me go to this folder. I should have it one step back. Let me. You don't see it here right now, so let me show you the back here. Oh, no, there we go. Okay. Let me show you that kubectl sebi. Yeah, kubectl sebi. Okay, and there is my Quarkus project. And one thing to remember with Quarkus is that you can compile to native. You can create a native binary, and that is what I did. If I go here in my target, Okay, clear. And I do an ls. I created here a runnable version of this tool. Okay, so if I do runner here and I pass name Sebi, say hello Sebi, DevNation, to prove you I'm not. Okay, so what I can do in fact here, what I can do is rename this file. So let me rename it. So it's called just kubectl Sebi. Okay, and let me copy that to my bin folder. Sebi, and I copy that to my bin folder. Local bin. There we go. And now what I should be able to do is kubectl Sebi. Hello world, yeah, hello Sebi, DevNation. Hello DevNation. So, why is that awesome? Well, it's awesome because I know how Quarkus works, I know how Java works, so I can create really complicated kubectl plugins. And the other nice to have is, and let me go back to the browser, is that Quarkus also comes with an extension called the Kubernetes client, okay? And this is a library where you can interact with your cluster, retrieve the pods, the namespaces, the services, and you can edit them, create new resources. You can do whatever you want. And look, I should have here, and it's a fluent API, you know? So it makes it really easy to create really sophisticated plugins with Quarkus. Once you're done, you compile it to native, and then there's the whole aspect of how you distribute plugins that I don't cover here. But if you, we should share also the slides of Aurélien Garage. They explain how you can distribute your plugins using a project called QL maybe. Okay. And anyway, that was my live coding demo. Let me check if there are some questions on the chat. And I pressed a button there. Okay, I'm still there. And let me see what is happening. So you can use Fabricate Quarkus builds. Oh, look, Sun. I didn't read your stuff. And yeah, exactly. That's my point. Okay. And Aurélie, you didn't. Yeah, Piccoli is really nice. So. And to be honest, I had this idea this morning. I said, "Oh, let me show them that." Often my crazy ideas for the show comes in the morning or just the evening before. Okay? About the game. So, as I told you, I didn't have time to finish my game, but maybe I can show you what it will be around. Maybe you know about this project, Agonis. It's a project from Google on top of Kubernetes, and it's to manage game servers. Okay? And it works a bit like Knative. It can scale up your game servers and can manage the players. It makes sure that the pod doesn't get destroyed if people are playing on it. So my idea next week is to have this working for a game. And people will join the game and will create new game servers. I was almost at the point of get it working, but it was a bit more complicated when I tried to deploy it on an open public cloud because with IPs, etc. Anyway. I decided for today to redeploy the game that you saw last week, which is my Pac-Man game, okay? But here I have my cluster, and I don't have the game deployed. And I just want to show you how easy it is to deploy. And I'm trying, it's almost live. It's also something I decided to do this morning. What you see here is the OpenShift console. And here we are in administrator view, which is complete. You can do everything you want here on your cluster. Okay. You can create a new project. Okay. So let's create a new project called Pac-Man. There we go. And then there's something called the developer view. Okay. Developer view is for developers that don't want to play with the kubectl command, that don't know too much about YAML and all this stuff. They just want to click. They have their app, their container, and they just wanted to deploy it, okay? So here I have my topology, no workload found, so I don't have any workload, and I have a few options here. And one of this option is container image. Basically, I can say, well, I have my container on Docker Hub or on Quay, and I want to deploy that to the cluster, okay? And here what you can do is type, so let me just go here because I already typed it before. I want to deploy pacman show, and here it has been validated for me. Okay, let me maybe increase a bit. And here I can say the name is okay. I want it to be a deployment, awesome. And then you have some advanced options. It will create a route for me, it will create a service for me. One thing that I already know is that I need to provide an environment variable to tell him where my Kafka cluster is running. Well, look here, you have a few options like health checks and scaling, resource limits, really important. But let me click on deployment here. And here I can add an environment variable. And let me just copy paste that because it's boring for you otherwise. And there we go. Let me, whoa. Oh, is that correct? Yeah. So that is just the URL to my Kafka cluster. Okay. Let me check the time. Yeah, we should be good. And the value, I copy that from a notepad here. And basically I tell him, also provide this environment variable to my deployment. Okay. And I say create. And there we go. And there you have my pacman that is getting deployed. Okay. That's created a service for me. It has created a route for me. If I click on the route here, I should arrive on my pacman game. You say it has generated a name for me. Awesome. Oh. You will be able to play it in a few moments, okay? What I need now is my aggregator. You remember, to show the score, I need a Kafka stream that aggregates all these results. That's also an application, a Quarkus application. And, well, let me go back here to my topology, and let me add this stuff here. And it's called, the aggregator is version 2. Version 2 has a new leaderboard. You will see it live. And here, same thing, it's a deployment. And I also need an environment variable. Let me add this. And you will see this time, and it's a bit of my fault, I'm not on the default port. I'm not on 8080. And this view here assumes that you are on port 8080. So I will have to change a bit my deployment YAML. But not a big deal. Let me copy this, my cluster. And oh yeah, one other assumption, I already have my Kafka cluster running. I could have done that live as well, but it's so easy, you know. I'm using Streamz again. It was a few clicks and I got my cluster running. Let me create this. There we go. And what I already know here is that I need to change something. So I can still do that from my developer view. Here in my action, I can do edit deployment. And what I can do here, that is the YAML that has created for me. And one thing I need to change here just is the container port. Okay, let me add container port 81. And I'm not sure if I need the target port. Let me put target port as well, 8081. Okay, I save that. And there's one last thing I need to change is my service, because my service is also listening on 8080. So let me go again here on my aggregator, and I should be able to go to my service. Look, here I am on my service. I can see that there's a pod running. Awesome. Let me go to the YAML here, and let me also change here the port. So 81 and 81. Awesome. There we go. That should be good. Let me take a look at the topology. Pacman aggregator. Let me go to the root now. So if my root works, that's a good sign. Yeah, okay. Looks like it's working. Awesome. Now so basically my game is running, and now people, you can play with it. And you know what? Let me go to my show here. There we go. As people are talking to me. Let me go there, and we got 6 minutes to play the game. So let me go on the chat. There we go. And now people I hope it works. And please go to the game, and you should be able to play the game. Remember, you have to eat ghosts to make points, okay? So, let me see if it's working. And on my side here, oh, it looks like my scoreboard has some issues. Okay, maybe I was too optimistic. Let me see if the events come through. So I can go there and score something like score. Hello, oh, score. I don't remember the endpoint, but play the game. I'm looking up the service. That should be all good. Maybe I need to restart my stream, my aggregator. Let me see. Monitor. So at least you can play the Pac-Man. That's the most important point. But the leaderboard is not working for some reasons. I don't know why. View logs. Let me check the logs here. Oh, I see here some errors. Okay, but my aggregator is running. So we should have some scores. Oh, there we go. Okay, I was just impatient. Look, so Dennis is leading with 8 points. Okay, so keep eating stuff. Let me see if I refresh here, and I am Grace 19. Okay, let me see if I appear on the scoreboard, because I want to play as well. But the goal here was to show you the developer view of OpenShift, which is pretty nice. You can see you can almost do everything with point and click. Okay, that's a bit of reason. And again, in a show, I don't have too much time, so I should have some points here. I'm Grace. Let me see here. I'm Grace. Hey, look, I'm second. People, you're not playing. I'm already second. Dennis, I'm sure Dennis is Sun. Sun, tell me if you are Dennis. I'm sure you are Dennis. Okay. Oh, really? Game over. Well, there's a glitch. If you play again, your score will not be resetted. Sun mentioned that to me. So that's something I have to check. And last week I gave this talk also for a Brazilian conference, and someone had 3,000 points. That was because he managed to hack the game. But I love that. Oh, yes, you're Dennis. You know, I know it. Okay. So anyway, that is a new leaderboard that you did install. That is also something I learned last week about Kafka Streams that creates a queue table, a global table, and you can really easily query this table. Okay, so I'm happy. That's something I learned. I'm learning every week for the show, for the streams I deliver, and I'm having fun with this. I hope you have a lot of fun as well. Today during the show. It was an awesome interview with Holly. Next week we will have Horacio as guest. Horacio works for OVH, which is a big cloud provider here in Europe. They have their own Kubernetes distribution. He knows a lot of Kubernetes. We will have a lot of fun with him. And hey, there we have Margaret arriving, and Dennis is killing the game. So we will have Horacio. And yeah, so hang on and see you all next week. I will leave the game up for a bit longer. So if you want to play it, you can play it. Yeah, and that's it for me. Okay? Hey, thank you so much, everyone. And see you later. Bye-bye.